Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Transfer Portal CFB YouTube channel presented by NoContextCFB. This might also be going out on podcast platforms. I have no freaking clue. But do you know what I have a clue about? NFL draft season. It's a 24/7, 365-day season, and it never ends. That's the beauty of this thing. We can have mock drafts coming out after week 4 of college football. The NFL is just getting underway. And we're still going to be talking about this event that happens at the last part of April. Liam Blutman with his first mock draft of the year. How's it going, Liam?
Well, it's going good, but it's also scary because now I have to put out, usually it's 32 picks, but the Dolphins forfeited their pick. So I've got to put out 31 picks on September 27th and expect nothing but love from the good people over on Twitter and YouTube, because they're sure not to hate.
Oh, of course. Twitter is the most respectful place on this earth. I mean, you can go on Twitter and say anything, and everyone will just be so kind, so warm-hearted. No one's ever going to make fun of you for saying anything. Come on.
They're surely not going to get upset that we have, I don't know, 6 FCS players in the first round of this mock.
I mean, there's an FCS player in your top 5.
Hey, man. It is what it is.
All right, let's just jump straight into it.
People took that seriously, I think.
Hey, you know what? If they took it seriously, you know what? We're not their cup of tea. We're going to start off number 1 overall pick. I don't know where the heck you got your order, but you know what? It's your order. So number 1 overall, the Houston Texans, back on top for the first time since, what, 2014?
I got this order from the internet. It's
shout out the internet.
Everything on the internet is very true. Yeah, so we have the Houston Texans picking first, and look, Davis Mills has not cut it thus far. He hasn't taken the steps necessary that we thought he might have been able to. You gotta go QB1 here. You gotta go with CJ Stroud, Ohio State, a dropper of precision airstrikes all over the yard, has beautiful feel and touch. It's a slam dunk pick for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, he's got that ideal frame. Obviously, you talked about the arm talent. Heck of a quarterback. Obviously, a lot of people are still like, Davis Mills isn't that bad. Isn't that bad? Doesn't win you many football games. If you're picking number 1, there's a reason. So CJ Stroud goes to Houston. Next up, the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, the Seahawks picking at the top and actually having their first round pick instead of, trading 19 of them for Jamal Adams. But look, there's another team who is going to need to find their franchise quarterback. You could find that with Bryce Young. You could say it's kind of good value here at number 2 to get Bryce Young. He's the QB2 in my opinion, but how close is it with he and Stroud? Like it's neck and neck. They're going to fight back and forth all year for that number 1 QB spot. Stellar mobility, absurd playmaking ability. He just makes so many tough throws from tough angles and less than ideal positions. He's going to be a good NFL quarterback. Stop fixating on size and everything. Just hand Bryce Young the keys to your franchise and let him get to work. He's a gamer.
Yeah, we know Seattle needs a gamer right now because that team is not fun to watch by any means. Hopefully they can change their offense for him because that offense is not good. It's not very good, Pete Carroll. We need to make some changes right now. 3rd overall pick, staying in the NFC, the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, so with the top 2 QBs off the board and already have invested some draft capital in Desmond Ridder, let's just take the best player on the board, right? Will Anderson, the edge from Alabama. This guy is unbelievable. If you say he's the best player in this class, pretty much everybody would agree with you. He's a game wrecker. He's got that innate blend of speed, power, and swiftness. He's going to age like fine wine. He's only going to get better and better.
Yeah, I want to say Atlanta was close to like 20th in the NFL when it comes to pass rush win rates. Say that 15 times fast. I promise you can't. I can't even say it once. Atlanta desperately needs a good pass rusher, and Will Anderson is pretty dang good. So 4th overall, we're going to stay in the NFC South. A lot of NFC teams already. Man, they suck. The Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, so I think this is the first pick that people are going to kind of be taken aback by and kind of question it. It's going to be Myles Murphy, the edge rusher from Clemson at 4 here. He's my 2nd ranked edge rusher in the class. He's got elite awareness. He's equipped with a variety of strong pass rush moves. He's stellar in run support too. With the top 2 QBs off the board, I'm not going to reach for that QB3 for the Panthers. I know that they desperately need a QB, but that guy's not there right now, and we can't make trades in this muck. So we ain't doing that. If you could have that, but the thought of Brian Burns and Miles Murphy rushing off opposite edges for years to come is very scary for a team that's not in a good spot, that is going to have coaching turnover and quarterback turnover at some point. Let's start building something. There are a lot of foundations on defense. Keep building that, and let's see if the offense could get going in these next few years. And then with all that young talent becoming, getting to their prime on defense, things could be looking up for Carolina.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is force the quarterback position, especially in the draft. I mean, we look at 2018. Let's see, Baker Mayfield was the #1 overall pick. Sam Darnold was number 3 overall pick. Josh Allen was a very good pick. Josh Rosen only played 1 year of pretty much starting NFL quarterback football. And then, that Lamar Jackson guy, he's going to be pretty rich soon.
Got drafted after Hayden Hurst.
Yeah, at least the Ravens still got him, I guess.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we could ramble about the Ravens taking Hayden Hurst over Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson another time, but golly.
Yeah, we can save that, but just please don't force quarterbacks, because when you force a quarterback pick, it usually doesn't end up very well. Next up, rounding off the top 5, I'm surprised this team isn't closer to 1, the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, speaking of ineptitude when it comes to drafting, right? Chicago has whiffed and whiffed and whiffed. Let's not whiff on this one. It's Peter Skoronski, the offensive tackle from Northwestern. He's the top offensive tackle, in my opinion. Absolute menace. You call him a forklift and you ain't wrong. He's got incredible strength. As I say, he creates gaps larger than the talent gap between Bishop Sycamore and IMG Academy. He has more reach than Blitzcrank from League of Legends. Not many people will get that one, but dude, he's so dominant in the pass and the run game, and Chicago just desperately needs to bolster that offensive line. I know you need receiver help, but when you need to actually find ways to protect Fields and allow him to get the ball to your playmakers or receiver, you've got to take Skoronski. You've got to take an offensive lineman with your first pick and address receiver at a later date.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems with Chicago's offense is, I mean, their scheme, first off, is disgusting. He's passing like 12 times in a game.
From 1913.
It's just awful. But he needs to be in the pocket a little bit more. He can't be making these wild out plays outside the pocket, passing the ball 2 yards past the line of scrimmage. Give him more time. Yes, his receivers aren't great, but at least give him an opportunity to make a play. I mean, right now he's just running because his offensive line is essentially 5 toddlers. It's not fun to watch. I'm a Packers fan. It's not fun to watch in a unit struggle like that. It's not good football. I'm a fan of good football more than anything.
And I'm a massive Darnell Mooney fan, but he can't be the WR1 of your team. He's a very, very, very good WR2. So find that WR1 at a later date.
I would argue he's a very, very good WR3, a good WR2, but that's a different discussion.
Okay. I'm just
we're gonna move to
guy.
Yeah, I like Mooney as well.
Yeah.
Number 6 in this draft, the New York Jets.
Yeah, the JETE will select Jalen Carter, defensive tackle, Georgia. He's DT1A in my opinion. And yes, taking a defensive tackle this high raises question marks. But the difference between Carter and the other guy that's going to go harder is their pass rushing skills are actually there. They could actually get after the passer. Now, he's got stupendous strength, elite physicality. Nobody says this about a defensive lineman, but he's slippery. He's just an all-around freak. And yes, basically the Jets are just opting for the best player available, regardless of positional value at 6.
Yeah, and that's something teams have always done. I do agree with you. The positional value for a defensive tackle at 6 is not ideal. But when you're taking a defensive tackle that can actually rush the passer and stay on the field for more than 2 downs a drive,
crazy.
It's good value because Jalen Carter is insane. I think he's a top 3 or 4 player in this class. I think he's that insane of a player. But I will say the New York Jets taking 2 interior defensive linemen in the top 6 in a 4 or 5 year span.
Yikes.
It makes me concerned. It makes me very concerned. But you know what? Good players make good plays. Number 7. I'm surprised this team is actually this low. I feel like they're projected to be a little bit higher. The Jacksonville, and by higher, I mean better. Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah. I mean, of course, this order is going to change. We know that. I
Of
also
course.
was surprised that the Jaguars are here at 7. I don't think they'll be picking in the top 10. But hey, if you are, the play is Jordan Addison, the receiver from SC who won Biletnikoff at Pitt. This is a no-brainer. He's proved to be the WR1 thus far. And yes, that's in due part to JSN's injuries. But this is a guy that broke out at 18 years old, 6 months. He's going to be a 21-year-old rookie. He crushes press coverage. He doesn't run fast because he flies all over the field. His movement can only be compared to the quickness of a Pikachu quick attack after using double team a few times. He's an all-around monster talent. This is a no-brainer for Jacksonville to pair him with Trevor Sunshine Lawrence in hopes of creating a top-tier quarterback-receiver duo for years to come. It's going to be weird if this happens and there are actually kids wearing Jacksonville Jaguars jerseys. That's something that you will never, ever see.
Whoa. First off, the Jaguars have jerseys that you can buy?
Yeah, they do. And it's going to be real weird when like kids in middle school are wearing Trevor Lawrence and Jordan Addison Jaguars jerseys. You know, back in our day, it was all Patriots and Packers gear, but there do be a shift.
Yeah, when someone ends up asking their mom, Mommy, I want to be Trevor Lawrence for Halloween, I'm going to know I'm getting too old. Moving also 2 video game references and 7 picks. We need to have a counter for that, Adam. Number 8, the kneecap biting, fighting Dan Campbells that happen to reside in Detroit.
Get a player that fits the Dan Campbell thing. They get DT2A. It's Brian Brzee, defensive tackle from Clemson. He's a phenomenal. What was that?
Well, you had Carter as DT1A.
Oh, I meant DT. I'm so bad with numbers. Brian Brzee is DT1B. I'm sorry for being absolutely inept when it comes to numbers, but Brzee is not inept at all on the football field. Phenomenal violence and swiftness, terrific hand placement, amazing closing speed. I think he's a perfect fit for a Dan Campbell team. And he's going to fit in beautifully on this defense and the culture that Campbell is building. I think that it's just a classic Dan Campbell guy. I'm sorry, he is DT1B.
Yeah, Liam is not very smart when it comes to numbers. He's pretty dang smart when it comes to the NFL draft. So you should be listening to that, not his attempts at trying to say 1A and 1B.
Nope.
We're going to move on to number 9.
4 plus 4 is 9.
The least favorite team of everybody from the 1960s, the Commies.
Yeah, the Commies are up here at number 9, and they're going to dip into their Ohio State pipeline. Paris Johnson Jr., offensive tackle, Ohio State. He's OT2 right now, but I won't be surprised if he does end up contending for that OT1 spot with Skoronski. He's got great ferocity and determination, unreal upper body strength. His attention to detail and his fundamentals is great. This is also a guy that spends his free time writing for the school newspaper. He's so alert. He's a stud in the run game, and he continues to get better in pass protection. We've seen him play left tackle, right guard, right tackle too. He's done it all, but he should be a left tackle. That should be his future. The Commies' offensive line is an absolute joke. Dip into that Ohio State talent pool once again and find yourself a stud left tackle.
Did Carson Wentz not get sacked 6 times in the first half against Washington?
Hey, man.
Against Philly?
I can't count, but it felt like 35 sacks or something. That was bad.
And also, Paris Johnson this last weekend against Wisconsin, he kept Herbig in check, and Herbig's no scrub. He's a very good defensive edge. Mm-hmm. So great pick for Washington. We know they need some great picks right now. Number 10, round off the top 10, the Pittsburgh Steelers, obviously not going above 500.
Yeah, so I'm picking a guy that I made a mistake about. There was no reason he shouldn't have been in my top 5 for offensive tackles going into the year, just from a college football standpoint, not anything about the NFL draft. So I messed up there. He is one of the 5 best offensive tackles in college football. It's Jalen Duncan from Maryland, and he's my OT3 and comfortably right now. He has lived up to the high expectations that you and I both had for him. You gotta love his mobility, his wicked athleticism, really strong footwork, and just check out the leg kicks he has on pass protection snaps. he also had really good tape from last year when Maryland got beat down by Michigan, but he held his own and showed very good flashes against Ian Hutchinson. The Steelers desperately need to upgrade their offensive line, so we're going to go with Jalen Duncan from Maryland.
Yeah, I know we've both been very high on Jalen Duncan. I think he's one of the best tackles in the country, and obviously you do as well if you have him mocked in the top 10 to Pittsburgh. And we know dang well they need offensive line help because my freaking gosh, that line sucks. It sucks. That's all I really need to say. Going to the 11th overall pick, we're going to go down to the Music City, Nashville, for the Tennessee Titans.
This one might raise some eyebrows.
Get ready.
Okay. It's not the player, is what I think for his future. This is something that I was mulling over last night. We're going with Kelee Ringo from Georgia, but he's DB1. We're going to draft him as DB. We're going to wait and see if we want to play him at cornerback or safety. Personally, I'm moving Ringo to safety because when I was watching more film of this guy last night, I was noticing that his skill set just better fits the safety position. Like he's got that superb blend of size and length. He's very, very good in zone, but he is at his best when his eyes are on the quarterback and he's reading the QB's every thought and trying to bait them into making poor throws and everything. That's where Ringo is at his best. So I would not be one bit surprised if you see, movement for and like petitioning from Twitter fans or something for Ringo to become a safety in the future. I think he does need to be more consistent too, but Titans have issues in their secondary. They're probably not going to be picking at 11 when it's all said and done. Just at this point, though, where we are right now, September 27th, let's just try and fix the secondary. Let's get a versatile, piece in Kelee Ringo that I think will play safety when it's all said and done.
You talked about he's best when he has his eyes on the quarterback. Kind of helped win the national championship by getting a pick six off of Bryce Young because his eyes were on the quarterback. So you know what? No one's going to debate you with that one. 12th overall, team that just lost last night in a disgusting football game, the New York Giants.
Yeah, their offensive line is not good right now, but at least they have youth that has upside on it. What they don't have is the quarterback of their future. Daniel Jones will not cut it. He's just not going to cut it. So we're taking Hendon. It's Hendon Hooker. I think he's the clear QB3 right now out of Tennessee. The downside, he is going to be a 25-year-old rookie, but the positives, he analyzes defenses very well. Super fluid in movement, in and out of the pocket. He's never afraid to take a shot downfield. In fact, you could say he prefers it. He is crushing it in Josh Heupel's offense. The age thing is super annoying, but it's clear as day that he's QB3 in this class. And right now, he's a legit Heisman candidate. I know RG3 said he's the front runner to win it. I'm not even going to fight that. I kind of agree with him, but this is a draft show, not a college football thing right now. So at the end of the day, the Giants are in dire need of a franchise quarterback. Dire need. Hooker's maturity and ability to command an offense from day one should be wildly intriguing for Brian DeBoer and his staff.
I do agree with you. Hendon Hooker is my QB3. But I also wonder if Brian Daboll is like, well, I took this kind of raw prospect, and I'm not going to compare a certain prospect to Josh Allen because I don't believe in those types of comparisons. But they are both slightly raw, both physically gifted, both have big arms, both are very athletic. I'm not going to compare the two, but maybe he wants to take that guy over Hendon Hooker. And I also don't really think age is too much of a worry when it's quarterback. If you can play quarterback, you can play quarterback until you're 40. Like, no one's Tom Brady, so I'll even compare him to Aaron Rodgers just for age. No one compares to his stats and his skill, but Aaron Rodgers is like, what, 38, 39 right now? He's going to play for a little bit more. I don't think age is that much of a concern. 13th overall. This belongs to the Houston Texans because it was originally the Cleveland Browns trade in a trade that we probably shouldn't talk about.
Yeah, I think that the Texans fleeced them in this trade, and now you're going to be able to add Jackson Smith and the Jigba, wide receiver, Ohio State, at 13. And yes, when I was mocking everything, I didn't even realize that I connected Stroud and JSN to the Texans. So the Texans get both of these studs from Ohio State. Right now, he's comfortably the WR2. Injuries have unfortunately prevented him from performing in 2022. And so unfortunate. We haven't got to see the sensational talent on display. There is WR1 upside, but I do believe Addison has a firm grasp on that right now. So WR2 comfortably. He's as elusive as they get, unbelievably lethal after the catch, extraordinary route runner, insane concentration. Like, we might see co-WR1s when it's all said and done. That's where we might be headed, and that's okay. So Houston, get excited about the future. If you're there at 13, JSN's on the board, and you have CJ Stroud, or heck, even Bryce Young, you pair the two together, and you let your offense start cooking, and you're excited about the future.
That would be a lot of fun for a team that isn't fun. Not very fun at all. We'll quickly move past that. The New England Patriots are at 14. They're picking in the bottom half of the draft.
Confidently, my edge 3, Jared Verse from Florida State. He dominated as a redshirt freshman at Albany, and he's dominating as a redshirt sophomore at Florida State in the big leagues. His get off is mad quick. He's got stupendous combination of speed and power. I'm infatuated with his bull rush. I think he uses his long arms to get hands on the quarterback with great determination and second burst at a high level. Work ethic, out of this world, man. The Patriots really just need to accumulate great talent, and that's what this pick comes down to at the end of the day. I think Jared Verse is the top 15 pick. I think the Patriots just need good talent anywhere. Let's get a very good edge rusher and see what he could do.
If you want to have fun, watch Jared Verse play against LSU. That was a fun game to watch for Jared Verse fans, especially he had 2.5 sacks, 3 sacks. Phenomenal. 15th overall, a team that's been very disappointing. The only 0-3 team in the NFL, I believe, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Pretty surprised to see them here at 15 in the order. Speaking of the FSU LSU game, it wasn't fun to watch this guy, and it has not been fun to watch him this year. It's Kayshon Boutte from LSU, who has disappointed thus far. He is my WR3 right now, but I'm very open to possibly moving him down if need be. He has not played up to his talent level in 2022. He's really let me down. I don't think he's in sync with Jay and Daniels at all. There's a lack of effort too that's being shown. Maybe he's not cool with Brian Kelly either. But when you're picking Boutte, you're betting on the version that you saw in 2020 and then 2021 before he went down with injury. This is a guy that boasts a 99th percentile breakout age, 18 years old in 3 months. He did that in the SEC. That's special stuff. That's the stuff that you get excited about when you're looking at Boutte. He's shown such amazing contact balance and yak ability. When he's locked in, he's a beast. When he's not, he's a jag. He's just another guy. He's got great route running when he's on his game, really good tracking, that nutty size and speed combination. As of September 27th, it's just the question that we gotta have. What version of Kayshon Boutte are you drafting? Who's better to draft Boutte and bet on him than the Raiders franchise? This pick seems like it's right up their alley.
Yeah, the Raiders are definitely known for taking bets on guys. A lot of them have hit. A lot of them haven't. So, yeah, you talked about it. Kayshon Boutte just has not been impressive this year. He had that game against Florida State I was very upset with. He obviously just did not want to be there. He had 3 or 4 drops. He dropped 2 touchdowns. If he didn't drop those 2 touchdowns, LSU is not in the spot that they are. They're game better. So he needs to play a little bit better this year. I agree. He probably should be dropping from WR3. I'm actually surprised you had him this high.
I'm bang on what I saw in 2021, and hey, if he ends up in Vegas, great opportunity to learn from one of the best in the world, Davante Adams. Learn everything that. Sorry, this guy is unbelievable. Take every note you can when you're learning from Davante.
Literally, just carry a pad of paper and pen around the facilities. Just shadow Davante. All right, moving on. We've got the 16th overall. Once again, another team. I'm surprised that wherever you got this mock has them even close to 16 because they should be a lot lower. Arizona.
Yeah, I'm not happy with the mock order, but it's out of my control. Tankathons was even worse because the Chargers are picking like top three, and we just know that's not going to happen. But yeah, we're going with the Cardinals here at 16. CB1 for me, Cam Smith, South Carolina. Versatile, could line up outside and the nickel. He's confident and aggressive with ball hawking skills. The Cardinals secondary is an absolute joke. Please go get a potential CB1 Cam Smith.
Yeah, look, we were both big fans of Isaiah Simmons when he was coming out. He's not a slot corner. Let's just stop that. Let's just stop that. The amount of times that Arizona has taken a talented defensive prospect and turned them into something that they aren't. It's just a complete just everything bad is with that coaching staff. They don't know how to use talent. They draft talent. They draft very well when it comes to getting defensive talent. They don't know how to put them into a scheme. It's disgusting. They did it with Isaiah Simmons. They did it with Zaven Collins. Those were two linebackers I was very high on coming out of college, and they just wasted them. It's sick. It's sick to watch that happen. It's coaching malpractice.
Yeah, if I'm an NFL draft prospect, I don't want if I see the Arizona area code pop up on my phone on draft night, I'm not answering it. Like they have consistently taken guys and then ruined them. And it's not just on the defense side; it's on the offensive side too. Yeah. Like they don't develop talent well at all. They don't really give their guys opportunities to develop in the best way. Feel bad for Cam Smith if he's going to Arizona, but hey, man, if he's anywhere else, he might be a legit CB1.
Very well could be, but we need to start talking about that staff in Arizona going back to college because it's not working in the NFL. But
the front office needs to be looked at too. It's bad.
Nothing's good about Arizona right now. 17th overall pick. It used to belong to the New Orleans Saints, but it now belongs to the Eagles of Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, when this trade went down, it was highway robbery when it happened. It's going to look even crazier when draft night comes because this is going to be like a top 10 pick. At the end of the day, the Eagles are going to be picking in top 10 and they're going to be trying to contend for a Super Bowl. What a fleece. We're here at 17, though. We're going to take a definite edge for it's Nolan Smith from Georgia. He's going to be a 22-year-old rookie. Everybody raves about his big-time leadership skills, and he's just a guy that dudes want to play for. He's very patient. He's ready to pounce with exquisite burst, sound in the run game, promising pass rusher. Look, there is opportunity that the Eagles will have to trade this pick, pawn it off when it's a top 10 pick, and try and get a king's ransom back for a team that's looking to trade up for a quarterback. But for now, the Eagles love investing in young, good defensive talent. Do it with the edge rusher and Nolan Smith.
Yeah, that Philly team is playing very well right now. You talked about Super Bowl contention, which before the season, not the most crazy thing, but it's also like the Eagles. They had their year. Well, might be there this year. Their year this. I don't talk.
No,
I don't talk.
Well,
Talking's not fun.
You can just say Jalen Hurts has transcended into an absolute monster. And look, people can say what they want. Nobody should have ever seen Jalen Hurts being this outrageously good. He's phenomenal.
He's playing very freaking well. There's 2 3-0 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Nick Saban is smiling. Let's just say that. Moving on to the 18th overall pick. Once again, where did you get this draft order? Because this draft order sucks.
I agree that the draft order stinks, but this is what a lot of other like sites and stuff are using. This was the most common one, unfortunately. The Colts at 18. This guy is not a top 5 quarterback in the class, in my opinion. I understand the intrigue, but I see a lot of downsides. It's going to be Will Levis, the man who puts mayo in his coffee, quarterback of Kentucky that's going to Indianapolis at 18. I'm super skeptical. I'll say it straight up. I think there's way too many cases of lazy footwork, zero processing, and a bunch of turnover-worthy plays for my liking. The people love his big arm and that he works very well under pressure. I will say that he works very well under pressure. He's very good when being blitzed, and he's got a great frame at 6'3", 222. I just think there's so many negatives that I see when watching Levis that I truthfully cannot invest into it. I don't love having him in the first round, but at the end of the day, there's a 99.9% chance that he is going to go in the first round. So at the end of September, I've got to put my ego and my thoughts aside and roll with it. And Matt Ryan just ain't it. And it's time for the Colts to actually invest in some youth at quarterback and not a vet whose best days are well behind them.
Yeah, I feel like Will Levis is going to be one of the more polarizing prospects in this pre-draft process. He's a guy that nobody thinks he's an amazing college quarterback. No one thinks that. What we think is that an NFL coaching staff is going to be able to develop him. Now, is that possible? Yes, it's happened numerous amounts of times. That's why we have a draft. So coaching staffs can get their guys in the door. The problem is what happens when a staff that isn't able to develop a quarterback takes him. That's the problem, because every coaching staff thinks they can, develop somebody. Newsflash, not every staff can develop a player. I mean, we just talked about the Cardinals. Now they're not going to take Will Levis, but that's just a stupid reasoning. There are definitely teams that need a quarterback that think they can develop a quarterback. If they can't, that's a big miss. That's a big miss, because there's a lot of great quarterbacks in this draft that are, I hate the term NFL ready, so I'll say more polished with a lower ceiling, but they don't have as many turnover plays. So, but once again, that NFL ready thing, literally no quarterback is ready for the NFL. None of them. They're college quarterbacks at the end of the day. We need to get them ready. That's why we have coaching. So, moving on, 19th overall, a team that looked pretty dang good with Central Michigan legend Cooper Rush, Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, we're going to bolster the offensive line straight up. I don't care what anyone else wants to do with this team. I want to address the offensive line. I want to take the top center on my board and the top interior offensive lineman on board. Cedric Van Pran, center from Georgia, 6'4", 310-pound beast. He played 90% of Georgia's offensive snaps in 2021 as a redshirt freshman. He started all 15 games, and he helped lead the way to Georgia winning the Natty. And he flew under the radar because that defense was so dominant. Nobody was taking note of how dominant this redshirt freshman was in SEC play. He's been a dominant force in the SEC. He's going to be drafted as a 21-year-old, nimble feet, upper body strength is nuts. He's just so good in pass pro and run support. I love the gaps that he creates and the work he does downfield. The Cowboys need to revitalize the offensive line. They need to continue addressing it. Just take the best center on the board, the best interior offensive lineman, please.
Sure, Jerry Jones would love to take an offensive lineman. So not only can he protect his franchise quarterback, but he can also create running lanes for his franchise running back to both players, which he loves. He loves all of his players, but we know Zeke and Dak are special to him. Number 21 or 20, actually. We can't skip this team because this is a team that is very I'll let you talk about them. The Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, I'm extremely low on them coming into the year because I don't think they're going to be able to replicate the special season that they had. This is a team I've been pretty outspoken on. I think they're going to pick in the top 10 at the end of the day. Have them at number 20 because this order stinks, whatever. It's the end of September. We can't do anything about it. Joey Porter Jr., cornerback, Penn State, CB4 for me right now, but he could definitely just keep on rising. He has put, just the ascension that he's had in 2022 to become the stud corner has been so fun to see. We talked to Eric Edholm before the season kicked off, and he highlighted Joey and said, I need to see this kid put it all together. If he could put it all together, he could be something special. All that inconsistent play seems to be behind him. He's put everything together, and he's playing at an elite level thus far and creating a strong NFL draft profile. He's aggressive. He's an alpha male. He's got big time physical presence. He's always looking for that peanut punch too, or a strip. His reactions and closing speed are scary. Very good arm length as well. He just screams AFC North football player. And
duh.
Yeah, I know. But regardless of his dad or not, he screams AFC North football player, and the Bengals need a daunting presence in their secondary because they don't have that. They really need a daunting presence on their defense, period. Let's take Joey Porter Jr.
Yeah. Of course he screams AFC North. His dad played for the Steelers.
Yes, I know.
Look, and I'm surprised you didn't bring it up before I said it. One of my favorite things is when you have NFL blood. Yeah. Like, how many times have we seen a player that's mocked in top 2 rounds that has NFL blood go on to be phenomenal? It's happened quite a few times. And now I'm not angling towards anybody. Yeah, I mean, I could pull the oar in, but I'm not going to be that biased. yeah, just NFL blood, especially for DBs. It seems to help a lot. I mean, yes, we can
Translates
talk about
greatly.
Antoine Asante. Asante has been playing
Yep.
amazingly this year.
Also was underrated in the draft process. Big time.
He was. I don't know how the heck that happened. We'll move on. They're back on the clock. Seattle. You got
By way of the Broncos.
Bryce Young. You
Yes,
got,
they
which,
have
which
Bryce
by the way,
Young.
this pick is going a little bit closer to 10.
Definitely, because that Hackett offense looks like garbage. Who doesn't look like garbage, though? Trenton Simpson, linebacker, Clemson. I'm going to give him the role of LB1 instead of saying he's an outside or inside linebacker because his versatility is just supreme. He's played edge, he's played nickel, he's played inside linebacker. Heck, he's taken reps at safety. This is a chess piece that can move in any direction and frighten your opponent with every move it makes, much like the Queen. He's got elite speed and fluidity. He's an athletic freak. Seattle will happily add a freak of nature to their defense, as they often love to do. They love athletic freaks in Seattle.
Jordan Brooks, Texas Tech. That's all I really need to say. Good pick for Seattle. 22, the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, let's go get my CB2 for a team that desperately needs a corner. Clark Phillips III from Utah. He's got great physical tools. I love the swipe downs that he uses to break up passes, elite closing speed. He's an avid tackler. 18-year-old freshman breakout. He's going to be a 21-year-old rookie. Superb coverage skills. He's got the heart of a lion. Vikings fans are begging for a stud at cornerback. Quezzy, do it, dude. Don't fail like you did in the last draft. Let's get Clark Phillips III to Minnesota and play him too. Like,
yeah, I know this is your mock draft. I'm going to go on a super short rant. I apologize. Kwesi gave Detroit Jamison Williams to move back 20 spots to take a safety that has played one snap. Their first round pick has played one more snap than me in the NFL this year. And then they also gave the Packers Christian Watson. Now, that one's not looking too great right now, but obviously there's still time. Please don't mess this up. Take a DB you're actually going to play, please. 23, Baltimore.
Yeah, so the defensive run continues here, and we're actually going with another corner. CB3 for me right now. I'm just so high on Garrett Williams from Syracuse. I'm just a lot higher on him than others. I think he's likely to pick up a lot of steam once the college football season actually ends and more people start to shift their focus to draft profiles and everything, and they see, oh, Syracuse doesn't just have a dog in Sean Tucker at running back. They've got an absolute monster at corner in Garrett Williams. He's an acrobat that makes freaky plays on the ball and creates turnover-worthy plays out of thin air. He's got exceptional speed, breathtaking explosiveness, aggressive closing speed. He's a very willing and able tackler. He's so good in run support. The Ravens are going to need to pay Lamar a lot of dollars. It's time to find good players on cheap contracts. Garrett Williams provides just that.
Yeah, especially they're paying a lot for their secondary. I don't know how many years left on the contract. Marcus Peters is one that comes to mind. Marlon Humphrey, I believe he just got an extension, so that's really not going to happen. But there's definitely some pieces on Baltimore that could get younger and cheaper, especially they're going to have to pay Lamar a lot of money. Now, it's going to be worth it, but that's a lot of dang money. 24. So this team actually does have a first round pick. It just doesn't belong to them.
Yeah.
The Miami Dolphins, you have San Fran's pick.
Yeah, so we're going to go with Noah Sewell. ILB1 for me right now. He's most comparable to Bullet Bill from Mario Kart, as you've heard me say so many times. That is 3. Look, he just locks onto a target and he blows them up with elite tracking ability, great pursuit, superb quickness, and the hunger to cause disaster to the opponent. He's fundamentally sound tackler who moves very well and hits really hard. Extraordinary run stuffer. If linebacker wasn't such, wasn't the running back of the defense, Noah Sewell could go a lot higher if the value was there. At the end of the day, I think the Dolphins will dip into the Oregon pipeline once again. Javon Holland is probably going to advocate for Noah Sewell to be the pick, add him to this young and talented defensive unit.
Is Ron McKinley still on the Dolphins practice squad?
I believe so.
That's another Oregon player to vouch for Noah Sewell. Also, I disagree with linebacker being the running back of the defense.
Okay,
Heavily.
I'm sorry. I was just trying to find the term to use, and that's why I unfortunately landed on.
I would say defensive tackle if you're going for like a zero tech.
Oh
just to
yeah,
completely clog the run.
definitely. Defensive tackle is obviously the running back of the defense. You're right. My bad.
Now, difference is I'm considering a zero tech the running back. 3 techs that pass rush, that's different.
Yeah,
that's different.
Yeah.
But we're moving on. That would be a very good pick for Miami. The Detroit Lions, you're back on the clock. You got Brian Bruzzi earlier. You have the Rams pick because the Rams don't like drafting. And who can blame them when you can get jewelry?
Yeah, look, this can be another Dan Campbell player. That's why I'm identifying. It's my number 1 safety in the class right now. It's Jordan Battle from Alabama. He unfortunately is dealing with injuries right now, so he doesn't have, a bunch of 2022 tape, but he's got masterful instincts. He's a heady player with game knowledge that's off the charts, lethal hitter with violent intentions and fantastic ball hawking skills. Maybe if I need to add another video game reference, maybe Jordan Battle's like a game developer and just knows everything about the game that he is playing. As the Lions continue to rebuild and head in that right direction ever so quickly, just add an elite patroller in center field, get fans stoked about a Brian Brzee and Jordan Battle haul. That's good.
That is definitely a Dan Campbell defensive draft. And I know that someone's going to use that acronym when they draft 2 defensive players in the first round.
That is like an A draft.
That is definitely a draft. The Dan Campbell defensive draft. That's me. That's mine. All me. Next up, the Chargers again.
Not again.
They haven't.
They picked it. This 26.
Okay. Yeah. What do I know? Chargers, you're on the clock.
What do I know is the pick here has to be wide receiver, and we need to pick Cedric Tillman from Tennessee at this very moment. He's my WR4, 6'3" with very long arms. He did not break out until 2021. He's now a 5th-year senior. He's produced at an elite level in 2021, and before he just got hurt, he's been balling out in 2022. He's Hendon's number 1 target, who we saw go draft at 12. Cedric sees 28% of targets when he's on the field. Top tier 50-50 guy, 90-10 balls, we'll call him, because that's Cedric's game, right? He contorts his body in mind-boggling ways, unreal body control and flexibility. He takes good long strides too. His long speed is very good. Sorry, I couldn't think of words. He also posted 10 for 200 and a touchdown against Georgia in 2021. That right there is a green flag. That is super impressive. And the Chargers need to stop messing around and add an actual good young receiver that they draft precious draft capital into, because Keenan Allen is hurt ever so often. We've known that about him for how long? He's going to be 31 next year too. And then Mike Williams is already going to be 28 in just a few days. And you have Justin Herbert. You have your franchise quarterback. He needs a youthful presence with with that high talent bar at receiver to come in there and help him out. He's much like Mike Williams. Tillman's the guy that's going to make those crazy jump ball catches and contested grabs. He's going to learn a lot from Mike Will if he's here. And he's going to learn from both Allen and Mike. This is a no-brainer pick, in my opinion.
Yeah, Chargers are a team that they have so much talent almost everywhere that you're essentially just drafting this as a luxury. Now, I wouldn't call WR3 a luxury. I would call it a necessity in today's NFL. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of a luxury when you already have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. So very good pick for LA.
You gotta think about the future.
Got to think about the future. 27th overall pick. That's forfeited because Stephen Ross decided I'm going to go and try and get Tom Brady while he's a Patriot and go get Sean Payton while he's a Saint.
You know what I wish? I wish that we just had this 20, whatever pick the Dolphins actually get. I just wish that we I don't know, like could give it to some other team, like had a lottery for it. Like, imagine if there was a lottery for this pick.
Have an auction.
Yeah, and I don't know if like the Lions got a third first round pick because the lottery balls got them this Dolphins pick, and then it's like, yo, stop tampering, stop trying to cheat. Like this
Now,
is you can what?
what if the Dolphins won the lottery?
They don't get lottery balls on this. No,
Oh,
you
you're not
gotta be
fun.
punished. You gotta be
You're not
punished.
fun.
Fine, they get a 0.1% chance to win.
Hey, that's all you need when you can rig the draft. Moving on. Number 28, the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, so you did some convincing to be
Yes.
on this pick, Andrew. I faded receiver because yeah, at the end of the way, at the end of the day, that's just not the Packers brand. And I know that. Safety. My safety 3 right now is Antonio Johnson from Texas A&M. He is a heat-seeking missile. He will blow your play up in a nanosecond. Strong and dependable tackler. He's got crazy range. It's a very, 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 very good safety and just defensive back class in general. The Packers are just getting a cheap contract at the end of the day, a stun talent at safety, and you know about Amos. I like this pick a lot.
Yeah, Amos is a very good safety. I believe his contract is up after this year. Darnell Savage's contract is up after this year. So they're going to need a safety because I don't think they can re-sign both of them, especially with Aaron Rodgers making pretty much $18 billion for the rest of his career. Now we're going to move on to the Eagles pick. Now I know this pick, so I'm going to let you work.
Yeah, well, I'm not someone who likes mocking a running back in the first round. I just need that to be known. Like, I don't like doing this at all. The NFL doesn't understand value, and they don't agree with you or I or all the other people that actually understand value and know taking a running back in the first round is not the move. So whether I agree with this or not, I have to just cave in. We're going with Bijan Robinson, the consensus RB1, to the Philadelphia Eagles at 29. Look, I'll talk about the positives because he is so good. I just don't agree with taking him in the first round. Anyway, he's got that ability to escape and then create is just absolutely nuts. And he showcased that for years at Texas. He's so slippery. He goes from 0 to 100 in an instant. Incredible, incredible, incredible footwork. The cuts that he makes are unbelievable. They're as fluid as could be. Great patience, has top tier burst, great hop in his step. I think the Miles Sanders experience is over, and I don't think Kenneth Gainwell can be a dependable RB1. Bijan to Philly just feels inevitable, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, you know my stance on running backs in the first round, and we know yours. You hate this, but I did also write an entire article and made a graph talking about how running backs should never go in the first round. Can we also talk about now he's a very good player, but Saquon went second overall like 5 years ago.
It was a joke when it happened, and it's a joke now.
It would have been a better pick if I mean, obviously Josh Allen.
The issue too, I'm sorry because this is a mock draft thing and everything, but the issue is when NFL teams invest draft capital into a running back and then they're not even the best running back on their team. I think a clear example of that is Chicago. Khalil Herbert is by far the better running back than David Montgomery, but Herbert didn't have the draft capital invested into him. And as a guy that is a huge Khalil Herbert guy since his days in college at KU and Virginia Tech, I want to see him be a RB1. I know he can be. He just happens to be on the team that invested super high capital into a running back and doesn't want to like take the L. And that's an issue with so many teams that invest high capital into running back. The 49ers invested strong capital into Trey Sermon and were actually able to straight up say, no, dude, Elijah Mitchell's our guy. We found this day 3 talent that's miles better than you. That doesn't happen everywhere.
Yeah, we don't even have to leave the NFC North. The Green Bay Packers, look, AJ Dillon's a fine running back. Aaron Jones is a top 5 or 6 running back in the NFL, and he's surprisingly underutilized, seeing that he almost splits touches with AJ Dillon on a weekly basis. It's insane to me. You know my stance. I would never draft a running back earlier than like late in the second round because at the end.
Like the
Yeah, and
Brees Hall
I
pick
know, I
wasn't
know.
good by the Jets, and
And the Jets were trying to get him in the first.
yeah, and we do need to move on because it's ridiculous that we're doing the RB value thing right now. But I'll say this: NFL teams are not good at evaluating the running back position either. I think they whiff a
No.
lot.
I think we see a lot of big school running backs go in the first 3 rounds, and then we're like, well, that's not always the case that they're the best. I
Mhm.
mean, Elijah Mitchell, ULL. What, 5th round? Trey Sermon, Ohio
6.
State. 6th round. Trey Sermon, 3rd round. He had that game against Northwestern, has not had a game in the NFL.
Yep.
We'll move on because this is getting ridiculously long. The 30th overall pick belongs to the Kansas City Chiefs.
My DB2, it's Tyke Smith. He's dealt with injuries and he hasn't gotten to showcase his stellar talents, but he's a versatile piece as well that could be used in a variety of ways. His ball skills are just straight up dope. I think he has a rare feel for the game. His ability to recognize a play is special. I think he's a slept on and underlooked as they get in the draft world in 2023. The Chiefs can add an underrated and versatile talent to their secondary, and they could desperately use it. I love Tyke Smith.
I've been high on Tyke Smith ever since he was coming from West Virginia to Georgia. Now he didn't get
Before
too
that,
much.
you were too. We were.
It's Tyke Smith is a guy that just has not gotten any love because he had the injury and he's also on Georgia. Now there's too many guys on Georgia to love them all equally and respectfully. Like, we're going to talk about guys like Jalen Carter. We're going to talk about guys like Kelee Ringo. We need to talk about guys like Tyke Smith. Tyke Smith, he can play strong safety. He has a little bit of outside corner. I don't see it too much. I think where he's going to make his money in the NFL is in the slot. He is versatile. He can play wherever he wants to. He's quick. He's explosive. I like his ball skills. I like his ability to tackle. I love him as a player. I think he's a first-round prospect that people are going to say, Georgia, you didn't hear his name too much. You know, obviously you got guys like Kelee Ringo. No, let's screw the names. Screw the names. Let's look at the play. Tyke Smith balls out on a nightly basis when Georgia plays football. Yeah. They don't play every night because that would be insane.
He is a ball player, and I think he was our 5th Georgia draft pick in this first round.
Yeah, to the people that were wondering how good Georgia would be with losing 15 draft picks, come on. We know they're going to be good. 31, the Tampa Bay, Buccaneers.
Yeah, Tampa Bay can't live on forever. We had the retirement scare, and this is, you got to find your quarterback of the future. It's not Kyle Trask, I promise. This is not Kyle Trask. I go with the guy that I think is firmly QB4 right now, Coastal Carolina's Grayson McCall. He's just a wizard with the rock. He works quickly and effectively. I mean, we know he's shown he's one of the most accurate passers in college football history. Precision accuracy, elite anticipation skills. He makes plays with his legs too. He understands looks from the defense and knows exactly what he wants to do in order to exploit them. There will be questions that people are going to have because he plays in a triple option concept offense. Stop it. Look past that and actually watch the guy that's leading this team and orchestrating this complex offense at a high level as he throws another bucket ball 50 yards down the field. Grayson McCall is that dude, and people are going to sleep on him because he plays for Coastal Carolina. But hey, at the end of the day, you could be a starting QB in the NFL no matter where you played.
Yeah, there's going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL that's playing at Washington State right now. But we love Grayson here. We're a pro Grayson pod. He does not turn the ball over by any means. You know that saying coaches will try and say, the ball is the program. He believes that. He acts by it every single game. He does not turn that thing over. Love Grayson as well. And we move on to the final pick of the NFL draft. The projected Super Bowl champions, even though they just lost in a weird freaking game, the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, so I think we could call him LB2 right now. That's Drew Sanders from Arkansas. This guy that was a highly coveted recruit who went to Alabama to play edge rusher before he ends up transferring to Arkansas. Nick Saban, I guess, said, yeah, we were also looking into moving him to linebacker before he transferred. Never happened. He's crushing it at Arkansas so far. He's got a freak athletic background. He played quarterback, tight end, receiver, pretty much everywhere on defense in high school. He's a large, physical, daunting presence that has developed into an intimidating linebacker with a bright future. He is very raw, though. He's got high-level pass rushing skills. Has that edge rushing background, as I mentioned. He leads the country in sacks right now with 6 of them in 4 games. Stout run defender. I do think he has a lot more room to grow and work to do. Far from a finished product. He needs to keep improving on his zone and man coverage skills. The Bills are simply taking one of the better prospects on the board right now with hopes that he continues to ascend into a goon.
Yeah, especially the Bills, one of their biggest needs is the linebacker position. A lot of questions about Tremaine Edmonds. Terrell Bernard is still a rookie, so we need to see what happens with him. But if things are going like we think they may go, linebacker is definitely a massive need for them. And if they win the Super Bowl, you know what? They can do whatever the heck they want because I don't think the fans are going to be too mad about whoever they pick as long as it's not Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, and then I just wanted to give 5 more names that NFL draft fans need to keep an eye on. These might not be first-round players, but these are kind of my guys. Jacob Cowing, wide receiver, Arizona. Andrews, there's a massive fan of him as well. Rashid Rice, wide receiver, SMU. Been my dude for a while. He has ascended into a monster talent with day 2. Potential might be a round 2 guy. Dwayne McBride, running back at UAB. Going to be one of the best value picks when it comes to running back in the 2023 draft. That kid is unbelievable. And then Adam Bach, linebacker, South Dakota State. Firmly my LB3 right now. That kid's a stud. And then Micah Abraham, cornerback from Marshall. Talk about bloodlines with the NFL. Father, Donnie, so many interceptions when he played in the NFL. Micah's so good. So good.
That Marshall team is creating a few great players. Obviously, they had their big win against Notre Dame, but it's more than just a Notre Dame win for that Marshall program. They have so much talent that's going to be a lot of fun to watch throughout the rest of the season. So there's Liam's first mock draft. I'm not going to go through every pick because I didn't write this stuff down, and I'm not going to act like I remembered half of it. But
we'll have a graphic on the screen.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a graphic somewhere. Adam, do your thing. Thank you, everybody, for listening, watching. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If this is going up on podcast platforms, I don't know if it is or not. Do the stuff there. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.